Hey guys, it's Monica here. I am so excited to introduce you to Real Estate Fight Club's newest partnership, Cyberbacker. Cyberbacker is the best in the business for virtual assistants. How do I know this? Because I am a Cyberbacker customer and I love this company. I have my favorite, Frances. She is my Cyberbacker, been with me for over a year. She's amazing. She makes me better. She's eager to help. She's on time. She's disciplined. She's awesome. And this company, Cyberbacker, has figured out the system from the interviewing process to find out what I need, to the interviewing process to interview several Cyberbackers, to the onboarding process, to the training process. Very buttoned up, very awesome. You and I both know it's time for you to leverage. It's time for you to take that step, and Cyberbacker is a really safe, awesome solution. Make sure to mention Fight Club and you will be getting a free gift. All right, do it. Make the call. See ya.
Hello, and this is a series called Better Call Saul, where we discuss what is currently possible, that if it were impossible, or what is currently impossible, that if it were possible, would fundamentally change the way we do business as real estate agents. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about what if everyone could buy real estate. Here with me today is my co-host, Rachel Real of Rachel Real Real Estate in Chicago. Hello, Rachel.
Good morning, Jen. How are you?
Good morning. So Rachel has been an agent for 18 years. She's been on the Pro Standards Committee for 8 of those years and currently serving as the chair. She is passionately nerdy about all rules of real estate. Rachel, you want to introduce our guest?
I am. And with us today also is Saul Klein, who is the godfather of real estate technology. Saul has been licensed to sell real estate for over 47 years. He was an original team member of Realtor.com and the creator of the National Association of Realtors Technology Certification Program, which we all know as ePro. Saul was personally responsible for the first 500,000 listings to be displayed to the public on Realtor.com. He spearheaded listing syndication, which is the distribution of your listings to the consumer over the internet. So welcome, Saul. Thanks for joining us today. And let's dive into today's topic, owning real estate for as little as $100.
Yeah,
Saul, take it away.
It's always great to join you guys. Always have fun. You know, because we always look for things that maybe are a little bit out there, things that we can talk about. Because our theme is is really trying to see the future.
Yes.
And how do you see the future, right? You have to ask yourself these questions that we like to bring up. And that's, what's currently possible. And then what if it weren't?
Right.
And then the other side of that question, right? So there's always clues out there. And this week I read a press release that said a company called ArrivedHomes.com. ArrivedHomes.com was making its debut. And I also read somewhere in there that Amazon had something to do with it. And that is real interesting because a piece of this has to do with markets and marketplaces and liquidity.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So that's downstream. So we're at this beginning of this where technology has now made it possible for the fractionalization of ownership in tiny little pieces that never made sense before. Well,
there's been fractionalization with, that's like what a REIT is. That's what a real estate syndication is.
Yeah, but you have to, those have to set minimums, because if somebody invested $100 in a REIT and at the end of the year they got 4 cents as a dividend, and they had to be, just didn't make sense. It was too much cost to process all of that.
Okay.
Exactly.
So what if the technology can process one transaction for the same cost, 100,000?
But I think a lot of it was like SEC rules, right?
Well, so in this case, so let's go back to the entity involved. So what this entity is licensed, right? So this company, they are a broker dealer. That's something we should talk about. But they're a broker dealer, a licensed securities entity. So that's a big piece to this, because I'm thinking, well, this is my dream. This is what this company is doing is my dream. This is what I dreamed of when I first got into real estate in 1975 and wanted to go out and get my friends together so we could buy a piece of real estate, so we could trade it, and I didn't have the money. And we probably talked about, I went to my parents, and I'd get 2,000 here, and then we'd buy a condo, and then we'd send.
But also too, it takes away like the thing of like having to manage it and like all rented,
Well,
and like it takes away all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I always wanted to do it, and I wanted to do the management, and it was difficult though.
Ugh, no,
it was
thank you.
difficult for other people to be able to do this because you had to know the right people, you're right. And so, but I always thought anybody I met, they should get into real estate. And then the first question is how much money I need, and most of them don't have it, right? So when I did real estate syndication and put investment groups together, you got to decide what's the minimum investment amount,
right?
And some, so my partners and I, the lowest we ever got it down to was a $2,500 minimum investment. Now,
where it still made sense for you to do it and to facilitate it.
Like managing way too much, right? And then I had friends that got it down to 2,000 minimum investment. But to me, it was like, and it's too bad that everybody can't invest because over time,
the barrier to entry is still too high.
It's still too high for most people. So there's obstructions to most people being able to participate in the greatest investment that there is for wealth building. And so when I saw I was immediately interested because, again, I did all these things, but it had a higher threshold, right? And then how do they do it? How do they structure it? What happens to the cash flow? Is it an LLC? Do they give K1s? How does it work exactly? And that we can get into all that. But here's the important thing. Now there's an entity, and there are others that I know of, that because of blockchain technology are able to create, in this case, securities, right? Not a real estate partner, a security of some sort, or at least approved through some regulation. I think it's Reg A, through Securities and Exchange, to be able to offer anybody over 18. Now, when I did financial planning, there were certain investments where people had to have a certain net worth, right? They had to have a certain amount of monthly income, or they were not suitable for that. Who is suitable for this? Anybody over 18. So all of a sudden, everybody over 18 knew this, invested in this. All of a sudden, you would have a whole surge of capital available for financing, and that could change. And so when I said, here you've got this company that's launching, that's allowing for tiny little investments in real estate.
Yeah, the minimum is $100.
Yeah, as a real estate broker, it's an important thing to learn about.
Right.
Did you look at, when I looked at it, there were a couple of homes like in my area, because they divide, from what I remember, they divided up by two areas. One is like more of a vacation style home, and the other is more of a long-term hold. Did you see that?
So here's the thing. So if you're going to announce a paradigm shifting concept to the world, and put the money into changing the way people think about things, you'd like some room. So the first model, and they've tried it, and they've got a couple of thousand of these they've done, I think. But the only ones, and when I first went into the site, they didn't have anything available for sale.
Yeah.
And now they do. And what they've really focused on, and this makes sense, and you guys will get this, is the short-term rental market.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of room for a lot of extra revenue in the short-term revenue. And they're dealing with probably capital market people who are building to rent stuff. And so now you can go in, there's quite an inventory choice, and they've got a lot of analysis, and you can go in and you can, but it's like VRBO, right? Where they can rent out a unit by the week. Or by the day. So that gives them more. So that's what they're doing right now. That seems to be where the thrust of it is, not on buy and hold. And then some they'll buy leveraged, and some they'll buy all cash, and there'll be different ways to invest in real estate. So there's a paradigm shift in people's capability to invest in real estate. Now imagine if I do this for 3 years, 5 years, and I'm putting $100 a week, and the properties I buy go up in value. I might have enough money to make a down payment on the home I want to buy. Right. And there might even be an opportunity where I can, because a lot of people are doing this, where there are exchanges, just like, and I can liquidate it right away. As a matter of fact, I might even be able to liquidate it or exchange it for the down payment on my home.
Right.
I mean, there's all kinds of things that open up when you say to people, you can buy a piece of real estate for $100. Right.
I think it would be interesting to see on the other side of that. You're talking about maybe trading homes and saving up enough. The rules for like a 1031 exchange would have to change also, because on those you can't get your money from the 1031 and exchange it for a syndication or a REIT or this. You have
to be like for like property.
That is like for like property.
It is, I guess, but it's a different method of getting there.
Yeah, well, again, you might have to do that. Or if the United States government wants to subsidize home ownership, do you think it does? right? The whole fine. But once the subsidized home ownership, it might, just like when you take your money out of one IRA, you can roll it into another one.
Right.
So there's all kinds of possibilities that could come out of this based on what it generates and the good things that it does, right?
So how does this, okay, so the paradigm shift is for the affordability of real estate. It's sort of, it could be seen as a forced savings plan, but it's also a risk, right? So if you're somebody that only has $100, okay, that's what you have to invest, it's also risky.
Sure it is. Life's risky. Where else are you going to put it? If you only got $100 and
you walking across
on
the street
Friday,
for crying out loud.
if you only got $100 and you need to eat Friday, then it's not a suitable investment for you.
Right.
But how many people throw away money?
Yeah.
And they could only get interested in it. And some people wow, I kind of like the fact that it numbers and it goes up and I kind of get it. And I like that. I'm willing to forego this.
Well, and it's like different than stocks because you can like literally, they give you the address. You can like literally go see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's tangible.
It's tangible.
Right.
But it is like stock in that if it goes down, you lose. Sure. If it goes up, you win.
But people like us, we advocate buying. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Right. How often does it go down enough that
it might go down
in the stock market? Right. It might.
It might. Now, I've owned real estate, started buying real estate in my first piece. I lost money in real estate because I didn't know what I was doing. The first piece I bought.
Oh my gosh. I have a couple of stories for you.
Well, so I was in the Mediterranean. I was in college. I was on a cruise in the Mediterranean Sea. I bought a piece of land in Florida in the Mediterranean. And then I bought some land in Apple Valley when I was 24. But then when I really got serious and bought a home was 1976. And since then, I've never bought a piece of real estate where I lost any money. Right. And so, and I've bought stock where I've lost money.
Absolutely.
And I've invested. So part of life and part of achieving financial success for yourself, whatever that is knowing about things you can invest in.
Right.
And so, you know what? I'm a real estate broker and I might have friends that want to invest $100 at a time. And that might be great. And maybe part of my business is helping them figure out what are the important things to look for when you're looking for investment properties. And oh, by the way, if you ever want to actually buy one yourself here in town, I'm the person that can help you.
Right, exactly. But I also think that like, okay, so I wonder, I'd have to look more into it, but I'm wondering how they get around the rules. And then what is the opportunity?
Which rules?
Well, just like how the rules of like the SEC rules.
Well, so first thing is look and see if they're registered secure. They are. So that's one of the first things I did.
They are. Yeah.
They're registered.
They are.
They didn't get around any rules. They did it the way the rules tell you it needs to be done. And that's what they've done. Right. So what you want to do is you'd like to learn what is required for them to be able to do that.
And what is the opportunity for real estate agents? Like, is this something that then we can offer to, like, if you're a real estate agent that specializes maybe in helping people, like, I don't know, first-time home buyers or something like that, it could be a good opportunity for wealth building, first-time investors or whatever.
Sure. But I think at this point, the value is knowing about it.
Yeah.
And being able to talk to people.
It's a new thing to know about, to talk about. Even if you were to share this information, share the website, say, hey, check this out. This is this is an up and coming thing. You open the door for people to start having a conversation about things.
What is it again?
And if
arrivedhomes.com. It'll blow you away. It is well done.
It's a very well done website. Yeah. I'm kind of poking around on it now. There's lots of different things on here.
When I was looking at it and I looked at the properties I like the idea. I like the concept. I think it's innovative. I think it's a good idea. But when I was looking at the properties on ours, they felt overvalued. Did you guys see any in your area? Did you look at them?
No.
I'm looking at it now.
I didn't look to see if there were any in San Diego, but as you look at the pictures, go down and look at the data that's there.
Yeah. But you still have to check to make sure, like, because it's an investment, right? So like,
I agree. And they give it a rating. And remember, they're a securities broker or they're in the securities industry. So it's not like they're going to put false values up there. And and there are different things that can happen in the market. You can buy a piece of stock today, you can go down tomorrow and go up the next day. The thing about this is it's not being marketed as liquid because there's no marketplace for it, right? Something to be liquid, there has to be a marketplace, but that's coming.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
It is. And it has to, right? Like that's the next step for it. But if you're saying, okay, this is how the program works. You give me $100. This is the average return. There is a risk. to it. You could lose everything. You could make more than I'm saying. You could make exactly what I'm saying, right? Like it could be anything.
Yeah.
You do have some, I mean, that's how stocks are. But as when I invest in stock, I do also look at the data and just try to use some common sense. Now with houses, it's a little bit easier.
Well, yeah. So here's the beauty. If you get into there and look, you're never going to find more data anywhere around one property. It is comprehensive and deep, much deeper than most people would even consider looking into. Just looking at the data that's there teaches you about things that you want to know and look at.
Right.
And so it's a learning thing. And they've done this. They thought about, because I first thought, and I'd like to do that. Maybe where do I buy? Do I buy in La Mirage, or do I buy in Tampa, or do I? Well, they got all the statistics to kind of tell you. Now, what if I start to just buy them, and I buy them in these different places? Now I'm interested in these places, different places. So I'm buying different ones. I'd buy $100 a month. At the end of the year, I own. Guess what? Now I actually own real estate. Now, as a citizen of this country, see, this is what I want. Under the what code of ethics, National Association of Realtors, under all is the land, the widest distribution of ownership possible. As realtors, that's what we stand for. Go back and read it, right? It says the broadest distribution of ownership possible. We're talking about letting people buy for $100. This is right in line with what we believe in.
Right.
As realtors, really, right? Now, how do you manage it? I don't know, but it's the right idea.
I think it's the right idea. I think that even if you have data, there are companies out there that still overvalue. So I don't think your statement about like
sure, but when you buy stock and you don't know, you do a little research, but you don't know.
And this you can actually know. That's my point. Like you can actually know.
So you actually then in the stock market and in this, you'd factor in that amount of unknown.
Right.
And you say, when I buy IBM stock and I look at it, I see, but I don't really know. And I don't know. Yeah, I can see this, but I don't really know. I'm taking a risk, but I know that over the long term, this is a good asset to own.
Right.
Well, that's what we're talking about with real estate. We know over the long term, this is a good asset to own.
Real estate is in general. Yes.
Right.
And every business book that you read and you read about wealth, they built part of their portfolio is real estate.
Absolutely.
And how much are you really risking if you're only throwing in $100?
Right. You're not risking a ton. Right.
Yeah. It
looks like looking at their map of where their properties are located. They've got some in Southern California, Arizona, Colorado, and then a good portion of them are kind of clustered in the Southeast. So Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee.
Now
and then a little bit where Jen's at in
this is
Ohio,
not a business without. It's not a business without detail, right? We know the
right,
detail.
exactly. Right.
It's just interesting. Like, so this one in my area. So there's 887 investors. The purchase price was $385,000. 442,000 is invested, which is more. I mean, I don't know how they figure that out.
You have to look at the rest of the cash flow.
I'd have to look, but the monthly rent is less under $2,200. Now I'm a landlord. Okay, this does not pass the first level of common sense for me. But
let's say that it was going to go up 20% next year. You might forego the cash flow for the appreciation.
True.
Right? So, but today you don't have that choice. Today you got that choice. You can look at it and say, no, I don't like that. Let me look at another market. Let me look at another property. I'm going to be an expert. Matter of fact, maybe I can get clients because I can pick these properties better than anybody else.
Right.
Maybe that's going to be part of what I do in the future. And I'm going to have people be my clients, and I'm going to use a platform like this to help them acquire property.
Right. Or something similar. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I like it. I think fractional ownership, and we've talked about this before, but fractional ownership is going to be more pervasive and a great way to invest in real estate.
Yeah. And I think this is one to watch, and the training materials are worthwhile just to go through. And this is what we, as Rachel, as real estate instructors and Jennifer, this is what we dream, right? Having people really learn about these things.
Right. Just learn about something.
Even if you've only got $100 invested, you're kind of inclined, maybe that interest will come out of you, right?
Right.
Exactly. You get to, you have a little more invested than, mentally, personally, you take some time to do a little bit more of a deep dive on some of these things.
I say it's
very interesting.
It's like Ancestry.com. Ancestry.com is a game.
Right.
It's a game. And then what do you get if you win? You get to learn all about yourself, but you pay a subscription fee, and they send you clues Can you just see coming here? Clues about the neighborhood, clues, get more people to go to the sites, generate more revenue. No, this is why, because
well, it's definitely less risky than like buying the whole property on your own, right? Like if you're not sure and you want to learn how to like think and whatever, and you're a person that needs to try like understand by doing whatever that's called. This is a good way to do it where you don't lose. Like my first flip, I mean, we bought the house, but it was still, when we bought it and everything in it, it was $85,000. Well, $100 is a lot less than $85,000.
Until you feel
and you're not doing the hands-on part of it.
No, because you know what happens? I couldn't flip it. The market dropped. So I still own that stupid thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I probably should have already sold it, but here we are. You know, but yeah, it's like a lot less risky for somebody who's interested in learning about investment, and you'll learn quickly, and it won't be such a big loss if you mess up.
It's legitimate, right? It's legitimate. So you'll learn.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great opportunity for the 18, 19, 20-year-old, you know, the younger group of kids.
Or just new investors.
Right. Absolutely. People that are just new or trying to get into this and just getting interested in things like this. It's a great website too. It's very well done. They've got things broken out really nicely. You know, it's a great way to just go, hey, it's $100. Sure, I can figure that out.
Well, so I mean, you're committed to helping people like understand and learn about the context of real estate and where it's, you know, the last 3 years are not a good example of the full context of real estate. So if people want to understand more about like the market, about how real estate was, about everything, where's the best place for them to go and to be connected with you?
Just our website's The Data Advocate, thedataadvocate.com. And we try to cover everything we do. And what we affiliate with several Washington, D.C. think tanks. We review lots of different research and documentation. We know that there are people who are on the right, and there are people on the left, and there are people in the middle. And the fact is that if you can look at this closely, you can find that all those people agree on certain things.
Yeah. Right.
And housing and housing affordability, it doesn't matter whether people are right of center, left of center, in the center. That's something we can all agree on. And so what we do at the Data Advocate, we try to look at the information that help us create the narrative to solve the problems that we have today, the big problem, which is housing affordability.
Awesome. And if they want to get a hold of you directly, should they go there?
They can go there. The newsletter, they can sign up, or they can send me an email, Saul@bettercallsaul.realtor.
Awesome. And Rachel, if people have a referral for you in Chicago, what is the
best way to reach me is by cell phone at 630-542-8688 or online at rachelrealestate.com or dealwithreal.com.
Awesome. Thanks for being on, guys.
Thanks, guys.
What we need right now is a source for great leads, and I found it. It is called Pipeline Pro Tools. So about 90 days ago, I booked a demo with them. And in that demo, we reverse engineered my business. We figured out how many leads we needed to get in order to get to the closings that we want. And they gave me a playbook to use in order to get that. So I've been using it for 90 days. We've gotten 12 qualified leads, and about half of them are already under contract or closed, which is great. And it is right now my #1 source for my best leads that I'm getting. I love this thing. I'm about to ramp up the number of leads that I get with them as well. So, and you might think it's expensive, and it's not. So I was looking for something that's very inexpensive, like affordable to everyone, but also generated great leads. We don't want crap leads. So what you do in order to get this, because I called them and I wanted to partner with them because I was like, this is exactly what our audience has been looking for. So they set up something specific just for us, just for Fight Club listeners. So you would go to pipelineprotools.com/Fight Club. And then you go to the demo, and the demo will show you how many leads you need in order to get the number of closings that you want to get. And then they will give you the playbook that I'm using, my #1 playbook for getting leads. And then you can use it too, and we can have happy closings. So go to pipelineprotools.com/Fight Club, book and go to the demo and get all the leads.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a podcast.